Welcome, folks, and to our wonderful chatting with Javi today. It's just, I guess it is soldering with Javi as well, because as you see, I'm soldering. Just trying to get ahead. But we have our wonderful friends, Mr. Dave Gatton and Mr. Rusty Meadows here with us tonight. And this thing keeps wanting to go to sleep. And no, that's about it. If anybody has any questions for our panel, they'll ignore you, but I won't.
Yes,
So.
you will.
Wait a minute. You didn't say that when you sent me the link. I did not.
They are under no obligation to answer. They're just keeping me company and filling in on the chat. So, but by all means, ask me any question, and don't worry, I'll make up an answer for you.
I was gonna say he'll tell you no lies, but he made a liar out of me just then. Chuck Cobb just joined us.
Hey, Chuck. Now, let me see. There was a famous baseball player named Chuck Cobb, was there not?
Ty
Cobb, that's right. Oh my God, man,
That was Chuck's brother.
That's Chuck's brother. Man, talk about CRS.
Oh Lord,
man, Ty Cobb. He was featured in an episode of, in a couple episodes of MASH.
Yeah,
I know every episode, so yeah, it's I should know that name.
By the way, I'm finishing up the first season of Stargate SG-1.
Oh yeah,
I'm episode number 12. I've coming up. I got it on Amazon Prime. I got the first 10 seasons.
Nice.
Yeah, I really enjoyed looking back at it.
Yeah. I'm really happy. I like that. I love that series myself. But it's funny. I was talking about MASH. There are different shows that I play in the background, whether it's Star Trek or Stargate or whatever, and Babylon 5. But something with MASH. I listened to my psychology teachers back in college when we were learning about Pavlovian responses and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And all those other things, conditioned responses. And I guess in the past, I enjoyed that show so much that I used to play it consecutively. I had all the VHSs for all the seasons. And I used to play it while I worked in my room, in my office, whatever, while I did work. And that show became to me like when that show was on, I just felt like working because, cause and effect. Yeah, if you're working, you have something on every time you're working, it feels natural to work when it's on. So it's funny when I want to get something done, even now, and I'm semi-motivated. If I'm not motivated, I don't turn it on because I don't want to kill that wonderful effect. But I turn on MASH. Wow. And
I liked MASH when it first came on. I liked it all the way through, okay, well enough, but I liked it better when it first came on, when they had Trapper on there.
See, I'm the opposite.
Really? I like Trapper better than that.
BJ. Yeah.
Honeycutt, yeah.
I like BJ. And by all rights, I love Winchester far more than Frank Burns. I can't stand Frank. I never could.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that.
But it is what it is. But yeah,
Which one did you like better as the commander there?
Definitely
Sherman Potter, or
definitely Potter. Definitely Potter. Yeah, Henry was. McLean Stevenson's wonderful, but better. Yeah, I like Potter.
I like Potter better. I like McLean Stevenson as well, but I did like Potter better. See, Dave didn't know what he was coming into when he comes over here and he gets all this geek stuff and he don't know what to do with it.
Well, no, I'm sure he likes MASH, don't you, Dave?
I've watched it a few hundred times, probably.
There,
Well,
there you go.
what's your opinion? Which characters were better?
Um, I don't know. I'd have to agree with the Potter thing. I think he was probably
Yeah,
probably
Well,
better.
we got confirmation in the chat too. Potter.
yeah. Sherman.
And I
Potter,
think
yeah.
I would have to go with BJ Honeycutt too.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
2-1, but I still like Trapper better.
Yeah, I like BJ. Let me see. Red, green, blue. Damn. Yeah.
Hey, we had some dead air.
Yeah. Well, I was concentrating because I want to get the colors right. Not that they matter, because eventually I still test them all, but
Have y'all been to Chick-fil-A lately?
And my
Not-
wife just went there yesterday.
not recently. But I
Yeah.
love that place.
I hadn't been to Chick-fil-A in months. Well before the
COVID.
COVID thing.
Yeah.
But I had a hankering for some chicken.
Yeah.
So I went to Zaxby's, and I always get the buffalo wing things.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I'll just get some. They call them at Zaxby's. They call them chicken fingers.
Right.
So I'll just get some of those. I pull into Zaxby's, and of course, it's Friday night,
Oh boy.
and they were. I mean, I pulled in, and you couldn't even move. And fortunately, I thought, well, I better back up before somebody pulls in behind me, and then I'm stuck. Because these places, they're not made for this
No.
strictly drive-through
No.
stuff. So anyway, I managed to get out of there, but I still had a hankering for some chicken. So I thought, well, let me go to Chick-fil-A. They'll
Oh, that'd be worse.
been over there a long time.
Uh-huh.
And I go over there, and of course, it's the same thing with them. They're wound around the building, and all that, and got two lines, and
Yep.
14 people out there taking orders and stuff. But I tell you what, they are a well-oiled machine. Because once I got over there, my order was taken really fast. You almost never stop for more than just a few seconds before you're pulling up.
Oh, that's great. That's good to
And
know.
I was in and out of there and back home, and just literally minutes. But I'm thinking, man, it's too bad that the DMV and other places can't operate like Chick-fil-A does.
Yeah, they
Get them in, get them out.
They should take some lessons. Yeah,
But
absolutely.
they are just. It's just so impressive. I'm not a big fan of the way they do their. And again, it's because had they known they were going to be doing all this drive-up traffic, I'm sure they would have built a bigger place.
Yeah.
But
6 lanes.
yeah. I mean,
I can see a drive-through that big.
getting people in and out of there. I got to hand it to them.
So, question for Russ: are you going to watch Stargate Atlantis after you're done with SG1, and then start an SGU? Then
Yeah, I just done an
I got to tell you, I was and wasn't a fan of SGU.
I have not seen that.
Oh, I've seen it. See, here's my problem with Stargate Universe. Not to get too geeky on anybody, but my issue with Stargate. Yeah, too late for that. My issue with Stargate Universe was that it was filmed too much like Battlestar Galactica. The new Battlestar Galactica.
Mm-hmm.
I was fond of the old. The old was good, and the new one in the beginning, I got into it. Oh, it's great to have Battlestar Galactica back. Oh,
Yeah.
ooh, and the new Cylons, and then everything's all different. And let me tell you, it was a good show for a while. Then, once I think I stopped watching it around the Arrow, and it died shortly after that. But it's like, and they're replaying them now, and I'm still not interested in rewatching them.
Yeah. Well, I've never seen the Stargate universe. I saw every episode of Stargate Atlantis.
Stargate episode, I kind of liked the premise, but I was following them, and then they just canceled it.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I didn't have that much interest in it, so it's understandable that they canceled it. But
Well, I like the camaraderie and the playoff between the characters of SG-1
yeah,
and Atlantis.
yeah.
I enjoy. Now I don't know about the other because I got nothing to base it on. So I did see it advertised on Amazon Prime.
The whole show was very antagonistic and stuff.
Okay, well
It's
I
like
will take a look at it.
it's like the difference between Winchester. Well, no, Winchester was antagonistic too.
Yes,
I was going to say Winchester and Burns, but
I didn't like Burns. Did not like Burns at all.
yeah, no, yeah. It's like I feel sorry for Larry Linville because
Yeah,
he played the character as written, but
right.
it was a static character. It was
Mhm.
written as a static character, never ever growing, never changing. I mean,
Yeah.
look at the Hot Lips. I mean,
Yeah.
in the beginning she was, she was Hot Lips Houlihan,
Yeah.
and she came into her. I mean, they wrote her very, very well, and they continued to write her very well, and she was a very strong woman. In the beginning, she wasn't a
Yeah.
strong woman at all.
Yeah.
You know.
I like on Facebook whenever they pull up the advertisements for MASH and they're showing Hot Lips. They're actually showing the movie Sally Kellerman,
Yeah, Kellerman.
but they're calling her Loretta Swit.
Oh,
And
really?
yes, I've seen it 2 or 3 times.
Oh, wow, that's
And
sad.
I said, "That's not Loretta Swit, you idiot! That was the movie. That wasn't the TV show." They're talking about the TV show, but yet they put up a picture on screen of Sally Kellerman.
Oh, the truly sad part is that the producers of the of the movie are not fans of the TV show.
Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, they've mentioned it once or twice.
Huh.
They didn't like how it because the original MASH was about the Vietnam War. And
it was Korean, wasn't it?
Nope, it was the Vietnam War.
Okay.
And what happened was the series MASH,
Mm-hmm.
because it was still too fresh,
Okay.
they couldn't make it about the Vietnam War. One thing's a movie, one thing's a TV show. The TV show, they couldn't make it. So they made it about they figure, well, let's make it about the Korean War. And that's exactly what they did.
Okay.
And that's why the first episode says Korea 1951, which is hilarious. This is the funniest thing is that the Korean War lasted 3 years and MASH lasted 11.
Well, I really drug it out.
I love that. I love that. There was some of the little known facts of MASH. One of the things is Alan Alda had in his contract that every show had to have at least one scene in the ER. So you will notice, no matter what, no matter how small, every show has an episode in the OR. Yeah. Because he was very adamant of reminding people that this isn't a comedy. Right. I mean, even though it is a comedy, it's to show the harshness of war, whatever.
Yeah.
He is
that's good.
Very anti. Yeah.
Yeah, that helps make the show. more about what it is.
Absolutely, and
Yeah,
it
he
is
kind of he forced them into it.
yeah, and it is what it is. War is not fun and a joke and anything like that. Of course not.
Yeah.
We don't want to. We want
Hello,
to avoid it if we can, but let's
yeah.
see. What do we got here?
Glenn just joined us. Hello, Glenn.
Hey, Glenn, how's it going? And then, yeah, and as Paul says, it was darker than the others. The movie.
Yeah,
Um,
he was talking about
oh,
SG
Cl-
Universe.
Clyde's uncle. He says his uncle fought in the Korean War.
Hmm.
So that's interesting. That's I'll tell you. I remember when I was a kid, I asked my father, Dad, I was worried about, because I had found out there was something in the news about a draft.
Not at your age.
Right. Well, I was 14 at the time, and I didn't know what the hell was happening. And I'm asking my dad. I go, Dad, is there a draft? And he goes, No, there's no draft, but you have to register for selective service because at the
Mm-hmm.
time you had to
Yeah.
register. You had to physically fill out the card and all this.
Yeah.
And then later, I believe they did it with voting automatically, and then later, I don't know what's happening now, but um, so I'm a little kid, and I don't want to say privileged, but I guess to a certain degree privileged, sheltered, uh, was is a good word for it. Where I grew up in Miami in the suburbs, and I was a suburbanite for all intents and purposes. Going to private school, so it's not like I was, wise to the ways of the world
More
back,
streetwise.
not streetwise back then in the slightest. So I'm 14 years old, and 12 or 14, whatever the age was, and I was afraid. I was going, oh my God, they could draft me and force me to kill people, you know, or rather force me to fight. I didn't care about so much about killing people if it's just, but
Hmm?
I cared about the fighting part. I go, because I didn't know how to. I basically didn't want to get beat up.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm thinking of I'm thinking as kids do, and so and so I asked him, there's no war going on now, right? And he go, no, of course not. And I go, when's the last time we had a war? And I'm here thinking World War II, which was ages ago. Which at 12 years old, 1940 was in 1970 77. 1940 was eons ago.
I hear you.
Eons. So and he goes, we just came out of a war in Vietnam a few years ago. And I go, oh no, now I'm really scared because it's like if there was a war that recently, and the big fear for me, you know what? Now that I think back upon it, big fear for me wasn't so much that I had to go fight, was that they would come and bomb my house.
Yeah.
That's what was going through my mind. That's at the time. That's how naive I was. And so I'll never forget that when I was younger. Those are the things I thought about. And you get older and you get more mature, and if they ask me to serve, absolutely, I'll say yes. But I'll be honest with you, I prefer not to to volunteer.
Well, like I tell everybody,
And that's why I admire those who do.
right. I did not. Actually, they stopped the draft in '72,
Yeah.
and I was a sophomore in high school when they stopped it.
Right.
And I wasn't old enough in school when I became a senior at 18 years old. Wasn't old enough to do the selective service at that point because in civil what was civics class they came around to everybody. Every boy that was old enough had to fill out the selective service.
Yeah.
And I wasn't old enough, so I didn't fill it out. And at 19, when I decided to join, uh, I still hadn't done it. And so I had to go. I had to go through a bunch of crap to get that filled out.
Yeah.
And the guy was not happy that I had to talk to about it. But I did it. I took care of it,
I
and then
wasn't
I went.
happy. You're volunteering.
Yeah,
Goodness gracious.
that's what I'm telling him. He knew it, but he said you were supposed to have done. I said I wasn't old enough when they did it in school. Then I never thought about it again after that.
I see
And
that. I see the question, Clyde. I'm just waiting for
he's
Russ to
waiting for
finish.
a break in the thing,
And remember, I'm about a minute or two delayed from you guys. So when you put a question in, it pops in on YouTube half a minute or a minute later, and then another half a minute for it to pop in here on StreamYard. So I'm not ignoring anybody. What
Go ahead.
What type of? Let me see. Well, let me get these in order. Served in Korea. My draft number was 354. I was sweating until they picked my number. Folks were ready and send me to the what? Folks were ready to send me to my grandmother in Canada. Yeah. What solder? Okay. With what solder do you use or like? Well,
soldering iron.
Yeah. I use a variable. I don't go by wattage so much as these are 90 watt, 100 watt, 120, but that's maximum wattage. You set the temperature, so I go by the temperature. Those 30-watt irons, depending, 30 or a 40-watt iron is plenty.
It's plenty for electronic work.
Plenty for electronic work. A 15-watt iron might take you a little while. Depends on if you're soldering something big. Then
it will, it will take a while.
But the wattage just determines how quickly it'll heat up and how well and how fast it recovers. Because if you don't, if you don't, I haven't been using flux. I should use flux. If you don't recover quickly enough, then you'll get a bad solder. Now, what I like to use is I like to use these variable wattage ones. And the problem with these is if you get a Weller, there's no problem. 335 degrees Celsius, and that's perfectly fine. I think it's Celsius. Yeah. 335 Celsius, and that's what I normally operate at. But that's with 60-40 solder. And you'll notice, I don't know if you'll notice or not. No, you can't see it now. Hang on, let me turn it down a little so you guys can. Yeah, that'll work. Yeah. So I am basically soldering right now a bunch of wires on these connectors, and with 30-40 solder. Now you'll see here I got two rolls. This one came with it, and it was a nightmare. It was it takes a practiced hand. And I got a pretty practiced hand, so as you saw in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've been soldering with it. But it's like the difference of soldering TIG and MIG. Welding with TIG and MIG. If you guys are ever into know anything about welding, soldering, each one has its own issues. But if you solder with TIG, if you weld with TIG, there's all different types of thicknesses, different types of flux, different types of gases, different types of temperatures, different types of amperage. You can go on and on and on. There's so many variables. You got to get it right. And you have to have a practiced hand because you're using the rod and you're using the TIG welder. If you're soldering with MIG, that's a whole different story. You pretty much, feed the wire through and have at it. And you will, most of the time, you don't even have to worry that it's rusty because it'll go right through it all. It'll create a bigger weld, but if you know how to weld, so it's similar with these solders. If 6040 is a very, very comfortable solder. It melts at a low temperature, and it's very, very good to solder with. Now, if I was soldering some electronic parts that, say, were in high temperature area, I couldn't do that because this would melt right off. I'd have to use this stuff, which is 99.94% tin and 0.06% copper, something like that, or 0.6, 99.4 and 0.6. And it's very, very difficult to get a good to transfer heat, you know. Whereas this, very easy, because once it's in a liquid state, it's the heat transfers a lot easier. So anyway, let's see what I got here. This is upside down. Okay, so I gotta do this. Red goes up here. Done. Red goes up there. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, this one was $52, believe it or not, and it came with the solder, with really crappy solder. That's why I bought the other solder. But it's a pretty decent unit for my money, though. I mean, since I'm doing what I'm doing, let me red, green, black. Let me do the bottom first, the black one first. For what I'm doing, I'll take a Weller any day. The one I've got up at the place is a much better soldering iron, and I fly through the solder. This one's doing very well now that I changed the solder. So it's but what I was saying about the temperature, I do 335 on that one. This one, I've got it set at 400. It's probably the same exact temperature, but the Weller is calibrated, I suppose, I would guess. Because the yeah, the dice up videos, Dave's dice up videos have been very, very entertaining. I was telling Dave earlier that, I mean, I some of you know this about me. I have a promotional products company, and most of the stuff I do nowadays is it's all drop ship, and I don't actually put any work in myself. But in the beginning, it was all fun. It was all me. It was all learning, and and I got to be honest with you. If anybody's planning on starting a company with promotional products, I will tell you right now, if it's about hobbies, have at it. If it's about a little extra money, have at it. If it's about a true full-fledged business, you're out of your mind, because your time should be valued a lot better than that. And it's just not. It's great. It's a wonderful experience, as I was telling. So anyway, what I was telling Dave was that his video about die sub, I mean, it couldn't have been more professionally made, and I mean, the stuff he's picked up about die sub, and this is talking from somebody who used to do it for a living. It's amazing how now, it took him, say, I don't know, a week or two of study, if you want to say that long. I don't even believe it. I don't even believe that. And one of his first attempts is in line with any of the stuff that would come out of a shop. So, I mean, it's that's a good and a bad thing. I mean, it's great. compliment to Dave and his intelligence. But when you think about it, if any intelligent person can pick it up that quickly, really, what's
I
how are
did.
you gonna
I went to YouTube University to learn that.
yeah, YouTube. There you go. YouTube University is exactly right. And that's the thing. The thing is nowadays, and I say this for numerous things. Vinyl cutting, for instance, back 20 years ago when I was doing signage, vinyl cutting was you couldn't buy a Cricut. You had to buy an expensive industrial machine for vinyl cutting. Nobody knew anything about it because the internet wasn't the internet. I mean, we're talking early 2000. Um, and and basically, we could make all the money we wanted. And then I got into the industry, unfortunately, in signage. About 5 years after I got into the industry, everybody got into the industry. Not the public, but there were a lot of sign companies popping up right and left. So the competition became such that luckily I was ahead of the game. I already had a customer base, and I knew the secret to any business, which is sales. You know, I'll tell everybody right now, if and I've said this before, if you're going into any type of business, all you got to do, that the customers are out there for the getting, but you have to go to them. You have to make it easy for them, and it's like painting. Painting it's and I said this before and I'll say it again. I can go to I can go visit, do some legwork and visit 50 people, just door to door, and cold call. And out of those 50 people, I'll get 10 people asking me estimates. It's one in five. And I'll probably get one or two jobs out of that. That's residential work, you know? And that's the thing. It's that easy. Nobody wants to have the door slammed in their face 50 times. Nobody wants to hear no all the time. I mean, I had a buddy in high school who was I would say the playboy of the year. I mean, this guy was always with a cute girl, always. And everybody asked him how he did it. And he wasn't a particularly handsome fella. And it was a simple, I mean, anybody who's been around knows this. It's a very, very simple answer. He goes around and just keeps asking until they say yes. I mean, not the same person. He just goes around, asks different people, asks different people, asks. One is bound to say yes. And, you know, just because you think the hottest girl in school is unattainable doesn't mean she is. She could be waiting for somebody to ask, and then he just happens to be right there. So it's the same thing with it's all sales, and it's the same thing with any business. Any business. You go out, you do the legwork, you'll find somebody that wants to pay. You know, I learned something about business when I was in networking and and through business coaches. I learned that I was at least in painting, but this applies to many businesses. I learned that I was a now that you're here person, salesman. I'm a now that you're here person, salesman. I would meet people and I'd interact and I'd be social and I'd meet more people, more people, more people, and I'd always bring up the conversation of painting. Oh yeah, I paint stuff. What do you? I always ask them what they did first, and they reciprocate by asking me. It says, "Well, I'm a painting contractor. I paint houses, yada yada yada." First things out of their mouth, a few of them. Well, now that you're here, would you give me a price on this? And one thing leads to another. I mean, you got to do the close, you got to do the legwork, you got to do the estimates. Whatever business you're in. So anybody that hasn't been in the business world or hasn't been an entrepreneur, That's the secret. There is no secret. If I wanted to sell more hobby boxes, it's a very right now. I've got the flow that I'm comfortable with. If I wanted to sell more hobby box CNC controllers, I'd be going around and going being part of a whole bunch of different sites, whether it's Avid or rather in a nice way, in a non-antagonistic, non-plugging myself way and stuff, and just and spend all day long on social media and you know this isn't a business. If it was, I'd be doing that. But this is this is for architects more than anybody else. I'm not set up for that, and I'm too old. D- Dave says that. Dave says that as well. Not that I'm too old, but he says if I was 10 or 20 years younger, it's true. If we were younger, I'm sure that most of you out there feel that way. If you were younger and know what you know now and had the energy, yeah, if wishes were horses. Uh, yeah, the camera did move. I lowered it, William, because I'm focused on whatever I'm soldering. But if you like, let me go ahead and put it back up because yeah, belly buttons are not fun. Let's if I can put it back up. There we go. Up too high, too low, just right. So, how was your week, folks? What did you guys do? Is anybody out there building a Gatton CNC? And if so, what progress have you made? Because I know it's not often easy, despite the fact that we are most of us are semi-retired, if not fully. It's not often easy to find time these days. I mean, just today here, perfect example. I'm going. I was had my whole day planned. I spent the day doing some phone calls for the upcoming build that I'm doing, and I got that done, and I took care of some other stuff that I'm very content about, and then the rest of the day was slated to make 5 or 10, which when I'm set up and they're on a roll, 5 or 10 of the panels, so I can get a few hobby boxes done ahead of time. So I'm setting everything up, and I received my engraving bits, the specialized ones that I have, and it just so happens that my wife was feeling a little under the weather, and she was in the mood for a fancier than usual meal. So we all have our priorities. Mine is my family. So so I ended up making chicken marsala. Turned out pretty darn good too. You know, pretty darn. So time is it's a very scarce commodity. I was talking to my brother about that. My brother said my brother's doing some. Good evening, Big D. How's it going? Um, how's the did you finish building your machine, or are you still working on it? So my brother is up in North Carolina. He's a GC and he's doing some project work, and he he was telling me that some people want more from him than he's willing to deliver, and they're being how shall I put it, unreasonable in their requests. They're piling more and more and more work on him, and the bottom line is, he's on the verge of saying, "See you later," because he told him straight out, uh, what can we do for you? And he goes, "Can you give me more? Can you manage to give me more time in my life? Because time is, and well, let me ask you guys this: when, when, uh, oh, that's a funny question. I'll answer that question right now, and in after this comment. Um, here's a question for you guys: have any of you at age 50 or thereabouts experienced the "ooh, time is catching up to me, let me start on my bucket list" kind of feeling, and had a, I don't want to say a paradigm shift, I don't want to use that word, but for lack of a better word, yeah, in your life? So that's the question. Now, as far as your question to me, as far as COVID-19 in the area, we are supposedly, this is supposedly the epicenter. This is Miami is the epicenter. Oh my God. COVID. It's horrible. It's okay. Guys, I live in Miami. So does my entire family. I'm frustrated by the stupid mask ordinances. I and not because I won't wear a mask, it's because I want to choose myself. I don't want to be forced into a mask, but that's a whole other story. I do not know one person, one, neither does my wife, neither do my daughters, neither do any of the friends I know because I've asked them all. I don't know one person with COVID. It's like, if it wasn't for the fact that they're giving all these estimates and death and this and that, and and everybody's reporting on it, I would believe that the whole thing is completely fake. You know, it's the emperor's new clothes. Obviously, well, not obviously. There's still a doubt in the back of my mind, but someone knows somebody, who knows somebody who has it. So if it is COVID, because for all you know, they could be calling the flu COVID and a serious pneumonia COVID. And, I am definitely of the opinion that that it's, yes, it's life threatening. No, it's not the end of the earth. And, and I got to be honest with you guys, it's, yeah, wait till I hit 70. Everybody, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I worry about that, and that right there is the only reason that I wear a mask, and the only reason that I'm careful is because my parents are 77, my wife's parents same, and I wouldn't want to be responsible for something like that. Only reason, because if it were up to me, um, I'm not going to actually go out, which that they have programs that they'll infect you on purpose to to look for antibodies and all that. I'm not going to do something that stupid because I wouldn't infect myself with a cold either. But if it were to come to that, if somebody were to ask me, Javi, would you prefer running the risk of getting infected or having to deal with all this crap? I would say if it was just me, I'll take the risk. Just me. The only reason I don't is because it's not just me. And that's it. That's the short end of it. That's the long and the short of it. I don't like the fact that my daughter didn't get a graduation. That sucks. I don't like the fact that we're forced to wear what we wear. I don't like the fact that there's no, I mean, what was a big one? Restaurants is a big one, and that's the funny part because in say Lake County, Florida, and thank God for Lake County, they I'm not sure if they finally shut them down again because recently, but oh, it was beautiful. Everybody was open. This is the home of the villages, guys. The home of the villages. The villages is the largest retirement community. And guess what? No problem. No problem. They're not living all clustered in a. It's all about density. That's the issue. If you're living even in my part of the city, it's the suburbs. It's spread out. When you're talking about people with that are all clustered up and live together, supposedly, and yeah, it happens. Anyway, let me see what we got here. So let's see what our answers to my question was. Let's see. Got to finish the office before you can finish the build. I get it. Recently spent some time 3D printing out the items. So on Thingiverse, okay, I almost read Thanksgiving. I go, oh, you're going to wait till Thinksgiving? Thingiverse helping me to find the X and Y motors. Oh, that's... Yeah, William, I'm sorry you had to do that because there's really nothing to that. If you follow Dave's videos, there's nothing to the alignment. I didn't use any kind of alignment jigs on this, and this thing runs true. But that's a whole other and a sore subject with some of us, because it's like people are inventing more things to complicate matters. Because now you got to take the thing out and well, anyway. Let's see here. Mounting the home. Yeah. Now that's pretty cool. That I would say would be a nice. I'd like to look into the 3D accessories for mounting your limit switches. I mean, yeah, you could do it with wood, but if somebody already figured out all the distances and it mounts to a specific area, that's a benefit, I would say. But
And nothing pretty's up against CNC like plastic.
yeah. There's your sarcastic comment for the day, folks. I got to tell you, I have to agree with that. I mean, with the exception of the drag chain, I wouldn't like to see any plastic on my build. Just I like my wood, and I got to tell you, it's so funny because looking back on it now, because I'm here in the room looking at the Gatton, I like the fact that I painted it, and I don't. I have mixed feelings about it because if I would have gone through the trouble to stain it and lacquer it, I think it would have been a nicer looking machine personally. Then, but the blue's nice. Don't get me wrong. It's just
I don't know. I like my safety orange.
yeah, of course.
Yes, that's it.
I don't know. I don't pay much attention to you garage work people.
That's all right. We can be the what they call now the red-headed stepchildren.
Red-headed, the orange-headed stepchild. That's exactly what you are. Nah, it's also a well, hell, you've proven that it's a fantastic machine.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I'm actually getting to do a little bit of a piece for my wife for a honeydew thing. She bought a shelf and she's got a food saver machine that you suck
Oh,
out and you seal.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, she wants to put it on this little wire shelf and she wanted a piece of wood to sit it on.
Yeah.
And so I go and look at that shelf and I draw it out. And so there's some curves in it that I have to account for.
Right.
And so I draw it out and I come on here on the machine here and I'm looking to do a design for it in VCarve Pro. She says, "Why are you doing it on that when you can just?" I said, "They have curves, and I've got all kinds of little cut-ins and stuff like that." And I said, "It ain't just a zip like you're thinking, and I
Right.
want it to be pretty."
Right.
And stuff. So I've modeled it up,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna go out and cut it out of 7/16 birch plywood. I think it's birch.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be really pretty.
See,
And she's okay.
I got to tell you, those are the types of projects that I enjoy. That I
I
enjoy.
do. I
Those-
even enjoyed the design of it.
Yeah. To be able to build, I mean, it's kind of funny. I mean, everybody says it all the time. This is a machine that can build another machine. That can basically replicate itself. You
Yeah.
know, um, and I mean, you could, even though it would be extremely ugly, extremely ugly. You could use a table saw
Yeah.
to cut a bunch of pieces to create a table saw, and all you got to do is just insert a circular saw, and you're done.
Yeah.
You could do that. You could do that. As ridiculous as it sounds, you could do that. There are a few machines, but those are the kind of tools I like. Those are the kind of tools that I enjoy. I enjoy making jigs. I think
Mhm.
the rest of my after I finish the house, aside from a few odd creative projects that's pop into my mind, like especially during the Christmas challenge and various other challenges, when I have more time, I'll dedicate back to the woodworking. But for now, it's all about the building of the new house. Well,
Mhm.
I think that my retirement, for lack of a better word, my later years is going to be spent, the majority of it, making jigs in order to make more jigs.
Now
It's fun.
talk about replication.
There's a lot of I bet you the crowd right now in the back of their minds are going, "That's a great idea." Think about it. you're it's a feeling. You're getting something accomplished. You're making a tool that's making another tool.
Hmm.
Obviously, ultimately, you want it to be purposeful,
Yeah.
but
Well, see, that is the thing. See, with this piece for the wife, I said it has rounded corners. So, I made a square and then I put the external rounded corners 1/2 inch. So I told her, I said, I gave away my jigsaw to our son
yeah.
and the corded jigsaw and the corded drill. I gave that to him. Said, I don't use them anymore. You can take them. And see, so now I don't have that jigsaw. I can make the corners with my scroll saw.
See,
But
I
I
would,
just said it's so much easier to make it and
yeah,
make it look perfect with the
I agree.
CNC.
I use my CNC like a table saw sometimes, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't give away any tools
Well, I
because
gave away those because I'm using the battery DeWalt's, the
oh, okay.
20 volts,
The way yeah,
and I don't have the jigsaw yet.
as long as you yeah. Because the thing is, I wouldn't give away any tools because everything comes full circle.
Yeah.
And for instance, scuba diving is a perfect example. Perfect example. You know how obviously I'm a self-proclaimed hoarder. Well, some time ago, I mean, we're talking ages ago. I used to be a dive master in scuba diving, PADI certified dive master. Well, I still am actually, if you want to look at it that way. Except I haven't dove in a while. So, but I gave away, not gave, I sold all my gear, and we're talking. I mean, we're talking Decor, um, U.S. Diver, a Scuba Pro, a BC. I mean, it was top of the line, top of the line. I mean, remember, spoiled kid. My parents
Yeah.
bought me everything. Well, it was that time when I loved that stuff. I even had a DVX, DV7X, which is the a little scooter.
Oh hell, that's fun.
That was a blast. That was a blast. Well, anyway, um, bottom line, I got out of scuba diving. Haven't I didn't dive in years. And so I sold it all at a flea market for $700. I'll never forget that.
Wow.
Because I mean, we're talking easily $10,000, $12,000 worth of equipment, tanks, the works. $700. Well, I always regretted that. Obviously, I do and I don't. I don't because all that space is great to have. Well, to buy more stuff, but
Mhm.
but but every now and then, and it's every now and then. That's why I don't regret it. But every now and then, I think back, oh God, if I had that today, I'd go diving right now. You know, and luckily now, and this was during my 30s. I mean, I had the equipment during my 20s. During my 30s, I regretted it. Already now, in my 40s, I'm parenting and all this. My girls are about to graduate. One's about to graduate high school in a couple of years. One is. So it's a whole different set of priorities now. Now, scuba diving's.
It's
I,
down
I
the
don't.
list.
I don't think I'll ever go back under the water. I mean, with tanks, and if I do, I can always rent them, so it's not a big deal. But
Hmm.
but what I'm getting at is it's uh, it's so funny because everything comes around, and tools.
Yep.
I ain't getting rid of a single tool because I plan to use every single. I plan to make it a point to use every single one of them. In fact, I was going to make a challenge way down the line where you have to use X number out of how many. You have to use, say, 20 tools out of 30 or 40. I'll leave a list of 30 or 40 tools: table saw, jigsaw, da 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 da, chisel, this and that, and this and that, and you got to use 20 of them in a video. Uh,
Jeez.
and make it funny. There's not going to be many takers.
I think there won't be many.
It'll probably just be myself, maybe Peter Pasuelo, because he seems to soak up those tough challenges. By the way, for those of you that weren't around a year or so ago or 2 years ago, I used to have, and I will have it again, the 30-day challenge. I had a 30-day challenge where you have to do one project, or or at least post a video of one project that you did. You could get away with doing 3 or 4 in a day and then post them over the next 3, 4 days. But you have to do a project a day for 30 days, you know? And it's not easy to do. It's easy to do it for like 7 days or 10, and then that's it. You say, we are all busy people. Peter Pasuelo successfully did 30 projects in November from the 1st to the 30th. That's just phenomenal. But there's a lot of things that I plan to get back to. It's just I've taken a break because, my focus when I'm up there is on building. But in answer to William asked me earlier, I guess regarding to the COVID thing, I believe that people landed on the moon. Where the heck is it? It's back here somewhere. Hang on a second. I'm way back on the comments. Let me see where I'm at. Finish my office. You got that recently since 3D printing. Got that. Okay. So you do believe we set foot on the moon? Absolutely, 100%. Yes. First and foremost, take a telescope. There's a lot of people that are skeptics out there. Oh my God. It's like, yeah, okay, doubting Thomases. Take a telescope. Look, first of all, I believed before I was in college. And then when I was in college, very much like the people on the Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
My friend John and I set up a laser and bounced it off, and a receiver for one of our electronics projects, and bounced it off the moon. I don't remember what the rate was. I think it was I want to say it took 12 minutes, but I'm not sure. Anyway, no, that's wrong. Shoot, I don't even remember anymore. Anyway, regardless, yes, it is even if I hadn't done that, I certainly believe. And if anybody doesn't believe, well, let them do that project, or let them take a telescope and look at although, yeah, you probably with a telescope, you may not be able to see the lunar lander and stuff. Maybe with a really good telescope, you can. But we got junk up there. We got, 27 golf balls? I don't even remember how many it is. But,
I remember them.
Yeah, we leave our crap up there. But yeah, definitely, we definitely did, and stuff. I'm not saying COVID-19 is non-existent. Of course not. That's there's medical proof right and left. I'm saying in my little scope of the world, I haven't seen any evidence of it. That's not to say it doesn't exist. I haven't seen evidence that I haven't seen physical evidence that there was. No, let me see. There's a lot of things that I haven't seen physical evidence on, but you just got to have faith, I guess. Let's see here. Let's see.
Clyde's leaving us tonight.
Yep. Have a good one, Clyde. Let's see. I don't like the face. The face border is closed. I guess he means the Florida border, or the FAC6. That must have been a misprint. Fact border. Oh, I don't like the fact that the border is closed. Yeah, I'm looking at the 6 key trying to see what's next to it. Yeah, he didn't type the T. Okay, so I don't like the fact that the border is closed. Yeah, neither do I. I agree with that. That's, oh my God, my brother works up there. Like I said, North Carolina. He came down 2.5 hours in traffic trying to cross the border.
Wow.
When they got to the checkpoint, they just waved him right on in because he's got his Florida residency and stuff and all that. They asked him, "Where did you come from?" Came from North Carolina. Come on in. it's but I understand. And let's see. Oklahoma City inside restaurants, mask enforcement, and I get it. I understand that part.
Yeah, they're doing that in my county as well.
Yeah.
Texas.
Yeah, and that's the thing. See, there are certain things, certain places that it makes no sense. If only more people had common sense, we wouldn't need these laws. And that's the biggest issue, is that people lack common sense, and there's nothing you can do about it. There's no solution. It's always going to
Mm.
be this way, always. Because perfect example, the post office. The post office in Lady Lake, Florida. They've got their markers. In the times I've been there, there's never been more than 3 people in the entire post office, and one of them is usually by the post boxes. The other 2 are in line 6 feet away. All the people now have plexiglass all on the workers. So why is anybody bothering to wear a mask? Luckily, they don't over there. That's a beautiful thing. But here in Miami, I do understand the need. I don't like that it's mandated, but I do understand the need. First of all, you got idiots that just butt up next to each other and don't follow the 6 foot rule, you know. And second of all, that particular post office is freaking packed. There's like 20 people in there at any given time, the one right by my house.
Hmm.
So that's why I don't use it.
I do know that I forget which little town I was in, but it was in my area. I went to the post office
Mm-hmm.
and there were 2 people in there in line, and there was a sign on the door that said only 2 people in line at a time in
Right.
this section, and I didn't see it. And
Uh,
so I walked in and I stood there. I had my mask on, but I stood there for a couple of minutes waiting,
yeah.
and the clerk looked up and saw me and said, "You have to get out.
Yeah.
Only 2 people." I said, "Oh my God." So I walked out and waited on the other side of the freaking door for one of them to get done so I could walk back in
Yeah.
and hand her my stupid packages because there
Oh,
was
yeah.
no place to put them
Yep.
outside.
Yep. Yep.
And yeah, I saw, oh, man, this is ridiculous.
I know it. I know it. It happens.
But my little county here, the county judge has mandated that anytime you go into any kind of establishment, you have to be wearing a mask. They're
Yeah.
not gonna do anything to you if you don't have the mask, like police wise, but the establishment will get fined for not enforcing it.
Right. Right.
And that's to make sure that everybody has a mask on for protection and all
Yeah.
that.
Here they got it pretty bad. The establishment and you get fined.
Yeah, well,
And
our governor has come out saying that nobody's going to be fined or put in jail for not wearing the mask. But if you go into an establishment and it's mandated that you have it, and if you don't, then if they don't put you out, they're going to get fined.
oh, I get it.
So it's just trying to enforce the policy of mask for everybody,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially in close quarters. So
Glenn Helwig asked earlier what color plastic. You know, wood color plastic might be nice on the CNC, but you know, I don't know. Like I said,
I like camo colored. So you
oh yeah, I
can't
keep
see it.
forgetting. I keep forgetting I can do this thing here, and so let's see what here. I pretend my router bracket. I prettied my router bracket out of aluminum. Well, that's okay. That's aluminum blends with wood. I'm staining it cherry. That's, you know, it'd be funny if you my dad made a beam in the house. He's extremely artistic. He's a GC and he's extremely refined and detailed. And there was a concrete beam in it. I know it was my room in the garage at home. It was originally a covered carport, and then it converted to a closed-in garage. And well, there was a beam, a structural beam. It was a big, thick beam, tie beam. He painted that thing with grain and everything. I mean, people do that. The faux, you know. I do that. I've done that as a painter. But the work that he did, it looks. I swear to you, it looks like a beam of mahogany.
Yeah.
Now it's 9 foot high, and you're looking at it from down there. So but you could never tell. You could never tell if you get up close. You'll know. But yeah, that's
Well, I've seen people box around them and make it look like that. But
Yeah, yeah, I've seen that. He actually painted it to look like that.
wow.
Well, I guess I get a little bit of something from my dad because on the other side of this wall, I built this addition. I built this addition to the house, and there's a my house is such that there's a section of wall of flat wall. Then there's like a column that sticks out structurally. It's aesthetic. A column that sticks out like a 10 by 10 column, and then another column in between those two columns. There's a section of it looks like brick, but I know because I'm in construction, it's it's multi shades of stucco
Mm.
made to look like brick. What they do is they put a layer of gray,
Hmm.
and before it's fully dry, they completely multi-layer red brick stucco, and then the professional masons, come
Yeah.
in with basically cut the brick.
Hmm.
And because every now and then you'll see what looks like a brick, and in the middle of the brick there's like it looks like a finger mark in gray, and it's because they overshot the other one. Well, yeah. Anyway, that's how my house was originally designed in 1970. It's wall, brick, wall around the foyer, and then brick, and then wall. Well, I added an addition, and in between each transition, there's a column. Well, at the end of the house, there was a column. I added a wall. I added a column to match the column, but then that wall was blank and it was next to a wall. So what did I do? I bought a roll of half-inch masking, a few rolls of half-inch masking tape, went through the measurements. First of all, painted the whole thing gray, and then I masked it all off, painted a base color, painted 3 different shades, again matched from the bricks. So I had 4 different colors of with a base brick red paint. I had 4 different colors on there, random bricks being different colors. And then on top of that, what I did was I sprayed from a distance a rattle can of black for the effect, for the brick effect, because you don't want, even if it's different colors in a mixture, it's still solid. With the rattle can sprinkling the black dots gave it a creative. Well, and then I pulled that all off. Nobody would tell. They'd come up close. People that have come visited me for a month or two at a time, and then I'd come around the corner, and then they put their hand on the what's the why is this brick flat? And I go, because it's not brick, it's paint. What? And I love doing stuff like that. I mean, I like the real stuff, but if it could look good and you can be creative, why not?
Is anybody else having problems?
With
Must be me.
Oh, okay. Let me continue with the catching up here. All right, so let's first thing you add. First thing I add before I run it will be an e-stop. Oh, okay.
I do think that my router's going bad.
Oh, is it? All right. You can you guys hear me? I mean, Dave. Yep. Okay. Just making sure. Let's see. If it ain't broke, think of yeah. If it ain't broke, think of how to make it better. Yeah, there's a lot of that going around. All right, 7 months at it and love it. Clyde with his thing there with his build. Let's see. Russ, my son borrows my tools. Never see them again. By the way, I'm 20 minutes behind on the comments, so I'm catching up here. Evening, Keith. How are you? I have to save my data for tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Yeah, this is when Clyde left. It's been proven that masks don't work. Yeah, I mean, look, think about it. Well, I've mentioned this before. Masks go down to um, 60, 60 microns, I think it is, and the coronavirus is at I heard it was 40, might be less. Um, and then there's people saying that if you can smell a fart, you can get corona. No, that's not true either because a fart is zero point 0.5 micron. But anyways, we'd mentioned this before. When are you going to bug Russ?
Well, they made him leave.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. My Wi-Fi. Yeah, I saw that your Wi-Fi is giving you problems. Well, we'll welcome you back when you come back in, and I'll hear that little beep. In the meantime, let me see. What time is it? Ah, there's that little beep. He's almost in. He's almost in. He's in. Alrighty. Another 10 minutes, guys. In the meantime, finish another few connectors here.
Yeah, my Wi-Fi was telling me you were breaking up really bad for me. So if nobody else was having a problem, I think it was my end.
Okay.
Way to hack his Wi-Fi.
Yeah, good going, Dave.
It's Dave's fault.
That's right. Dave's the one that's causing you to have all these issues. Well, that's what he's here for. He's here to make sure you behave yourself and to keep you down.
He's bucking the wrong Russ.
I didn't say which one, did I?
You sure didn't. Well, how long are we going to keep on this show? We're over an hour.
Another 10. I usually
We
do
got a limit.
Yeah, I usually do till 9:30. We don't have a limit, but we'll we'll go shortly. I just want to see if I knock out one more connector after this one.
William's got a question.
Yeah.
William has a. You might know what he's talking about. I don't.
I heard something about it. Somebody said, I don't know. There was a rumor that he was hacked, or rather, but he wasn't hacked. I mean, at least he said he wasn't hacked. So I don't know what the deal is. All I know is I saw that UPS. I saw it. I saw his speech from Georgia, where he was in front of a UPS truck. You know that one, because he was talking about he was basically talking about infrastructure. And I got to tell you, I loved it. I love the. I mean, again, I'm a person that likes to see proof, and a bunch of pictures of flow charts is no proof, but all the stuff he's doing, all the results I'm feeling are proof. But certainly before COVID, there's no denying that the economy was way up. I was doing 10 times better. Maybe some other people weren't, but I was doing far better. Anyway, he was showing a flow chart, Russ, of I don't know if you saw it, but basically of regulation, and I think it's available online. I got to check the regulation, the number of regulations in order to They're working on the on I-75 between Macon and McDonough. Because honestly, I've only been there a few times, but every time I go up through 75, as soon as I hit McDonough, wall of
Mm.
traffic, and it's all from Atlanta. But the bottom line is, it's wall of traffic. If it were widened, I don't know, maybe the traffic will be back in Macon. Who knows? Well, whatever the case, um, there was a flow chart showing all the different procedures
Yeah.
that you had to follow in order to get a project completed and approved and this and that. And it was nuts, at least, again, on the surface. If you believe everything you see, it was nuts. And they narrowed it down to basically 6 or 8 steps. Done. You know, because and I'm look, Trump's familiar with management. He's familiar with construction. He's familiar with the whole process. So I have no doubt that he's doing what's expedient, what's good for expediency. I cannot stand regulation, and don't get me started on certain code regulations. There he's gone again, but I'll continue. There he is. Lost. There you go. Sorry, lost you again. You're there. Yeah. I guess he's going real slow, so he's all delayed.
Quit messing with me.
I didn't do a damn thing.
Yeah, I'm here. If you quit messing with me, I'd be here good.
Anyway, what I was saying was, I mean, don't
I'm
get me
talking to Dave.
Oh, okay. In that case,
Dave's bugging me.
I go, yeah, apparently so. Well, so anyway, right now, especially since I've been dealing with overregulation all my life in this city, in Miami, all my life. Remember, I worked for my father for 18 years, in in construction and running permits, dealing with drafting permits, every aspect, and foreman for a number of years. Aside from that, on and off, when he needed me, I was always there, and I call and I would be, I want to call it administration, but in the later years when I didn't feel like running permits, we'd send a permit runner, but I would still be pulling all the permits. I'd be administrating them all, and I got to tell you, the incredible amount of regulations. You need this product approval. You need this. You need this. You need this. And I understand a lot of it's for safety reasons. I get it. But I'll give you an example right now. Right now, and he's gone again as usual. Right now, I have to. I'm working on a project, and in order to pull a permit, I need a zoning permit first. There are certain things I do understand, and that one I understand. However, if the regulations were different, you could start the process of the permit while you start the process of the zoning. And then I don't have to wait to get the permit before yes, I agree that the permit shouldn't be issued. The building permit without the zoning permit. But there's no reason I have to wait until the zoning permit is issued, fully issued, before I start the application process of the other one. And that's another thing now. Now I want to start an application process of a pool, a building, and some other stuff. I can't do that until they issue me a permit for the house, which is ridiculous. Why can't I start all the applications at the same time? And they hold off on granting the permit until the permit of the house is granted. It makes no sense. But, that's a level of bureaucracy that And in fact, there's a lot of inspectors and a lot of the, I've talked to a few of the people in the building department. They're not happy with the regulations, but they have to enforce them. I, I get it. I have to live by them. I have to agree with them, and I have to enforce them. I'm not angry with the building department. I'm not angry with the building officials. I'm angry with the lawmakers that put those damn regulations into effect. But they wipe their hands of the whole thing. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Continue with the way you can. Acquiesce. Well, folks, it's about that time. So I am going to, let's see. Yeah, the report was that some of the richest people were hacked, Gates, but he wasn't on the list. You know, I I have a difficult time. I have a really, really difficult time. Not difficult time. I will say this. I was about to say I have a difficult time believing the media. There's nothing difficult about it. I don't. It's that simple. I don't. Because they are no longer, as they were in my youth, a fact presenting organization. They aren't. It's now become whatever opinion they hold, they try to look for facts that support it, and they ignore facts on the opposite side. I don't care which side of the fence you're on. They're both the same. Very hard to get somebody that's that's that reports what they hear without filtering it. It's that simple. It's that simple, and that's why I no longer believe them. They say Biden is leading in the polls. Uh, what? First of all, there are no Republicans that are voting for him because the guys the guy has said. I mean, I'm not going to get into too much into politics, but he is. I've seen I've watched him when he says we got to beat Joe Biden. I've watched him when he says I really want to be senator. What the hell? I guess he wants to be senator, not president. I mean, this is I don't know. I don't know. I don't really care, but the point is what I am surrounded by in my community and what is portrayed on television by the media are two completely contrasting facts, if you want to call them facts. So, with that, good night, everyone. Have a wonderful evening, and I will chat about something non-political next time, and maybe some more mash talk, maybe some soldering talk, maybe some CNC talk. I will see you all on Monday for another wonderful chat session. And I respect everyone's opinions on whichever side of the fence they're on. I'm happy to discuss and be a part of this wonderful Woodward community with all of you, regardless of who anybody votes for. I don't hate you because of your opinions. I may dislike you a little bit if you're stupid, but that's my problem. Have a wonderful, but I'll be happy to help you get smarter. And none of you are fall into that category because you're watching my show. So have a wonderful day. Good night, all.